Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. As we continue with part 6 of Dr. R. Swinburne Clymer's Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry. 51. This tradition of the Infallible Name is brought into Masonry from the Hebrew Kabbalah, and how it became lost is part historical at least. The ancient Hebrew priest evidently undertook to fit to the names of their tribal deities the symbolism and traditions of the Far East. If the master's word was really a word at all, the deity of the Hebrews might represent it as well as any other. It is a question of phonetics, however, rather than mere orthography. Beneath the Hebrew text of the Pentateuch lies concealed the science of the Kabbalah. The anathemas threatened for him who should alter by a single letter or yod the outer text had therefore a deeper meaning. The priests of many nations of antiquity were initiates in the mysteries, and as such they were monotheists, while the ignorant masses were idolaters. The monotheism of the Jews was of a robust character, and their priests and prophets had a hard time to preserve their people from the seductive polytheism and abominations of surrounding nations. The Infallible Name was not only concealed, but terrible as an army with banners. Jehovah was jealous, revengeful, vindictive towards the evildoers, tolerated no rival in the broad expanse of cosmos. In no religion of antiquity is the anthropomorphic image of deity so strongly defined, and the creator of man and worlds made so exceedingly human. 52. The Kabbalah, on the contrary, embodying considerable of the truth and ancient secret doctrine, held a different idea of deity. While carrying the tradition, therefore, of the lost word as the infallible name of deity, the symbolism was taken as literal fact, and the people who were commanded to make no graven image ended by making a gigantic idol, half Moloch and half man. Amid such contradictions, the symbolism adopted from the purer and gentler Aryans was ill at ease and far from home. Reverend Dr. Garrison claims in a contribution to the history of the lost word, appended to Foote's earlier history and antiquities of Freemasonry, that the four-syllable name Jehovah was held by the Hebrews as the infallible name, and the Adonai was used as a substitute. The high priest once a year, at the time of atonement, entered alone in the Holy of Holies, and there repeated the name. The name was thus withdrawn from and finally lost by the common people. This is ingenious and too literal to cover the case. The old query, what is in a name, is, after all, not so easy of an answer, or the answer might be everything or nothing, accordingly as you understand it or look at it. Before the introduction of Masoretic points or indices of vowel sounds, the consonants were read by metrically intoning the text. The principle of the matra was therefore known to the high priest, at least, and therefore the word, the name, that known in all its plenitude and used with power, caused the whole world to shake, may have been used or invoked in the Holy of Holies by the Kabbalistic Hierophant. Some who read this may be even yet so ignorant of the potency of sound as to spout at the credulity and gullibility that indicts it, and yet so superstitious over the letters of a name as to believe them more sacred in one form than another. Notwithstanding, it is the letter that killeth, and the spirit or the breath that maketh alive. The consonants composing the Hebrew alphabet are about as sacred as so many wooden blocks. if one knows how to arrange the blocks and endow them with life, so that they may bud and blossom like Aaron's rod, that of course is a very different matter. 53. The traditional lost word of the master is a key to all the science of magic. The knowledge of the master is not empirical. It does not consist of a few isolated formulae by which certain startling or unusual effects can be produced. The magician's art is based on a science far more deep and exact than modern physical science has yet dreamed of. And back of this science lies a philosophy as boundless as cosmos, as inexhaustible as time, and as beneficent as the Father in heaven. If the Masonic meaning of master, perfect and sublime master, prince adept, etc., is less than I have indicated, then it is a roaring farce or a stupendous humbug. The concept of Masonry is true, but it has adopted or imitated the ritual and glyphics of science, the key to which not one Mason in 10,000 possesses, and hence the tradition of the lost word has a literal, no less than a symbolic meaning. The substitute is given to the neophyte till future generations shall find the true word. The question now propounded to every obligated or so-called Master Mason is the present the generation in which that which was lost shall be found? And each must answer for himself singingly, just as he entered the lodge, first saw the light and took his obligation, just as every real master or white adept has done since the beginning of time. There exist in Masonic literature many learned essays on the history, orthography, and philology of the lost word, but I am acquainted with no treatise that apprehends the nature of the real secret like that of Brother Albert Pike in his great work, and yet, if he knew the whole secret, he concealed it at last. 54. The true word of a Master Mason is to be found in the concealed and profound meaning of the infallible name of Deity communicated by God to Moses, or rather to the priest of ancient Atlantis, and which meaning was long lost by the very precautions taken to conceal it. The true pronunciation of that name was in truth a secret, in which, however, was involved the far more profound secret of its meaning. 55. Thus the infallible name not only embodies the great philosophical idea that the Deity is the ens, the tuon, the absolute existence, that of which the essence is to exist, the only substance of Spinoza, the being that never could not have existed, as contradistinguished from that which only becomes, not nature or the soul of nature, but that which created nature, but also the idea of male and female principles in its highest and most profound sense, to wit, that God originally comprehended in himself all that is, that matter was not coexistent with him or independent of him, that he did not merely fashion and shape a pre-existing chaos into a universe, but that his thought manifested itself outwardly in that universe, which so became and before was not, except as comprehended in him, that the generative power or spirit, and that the productive matter, even among the ancients, deemed the female originally were in God, and that he was and is all that was, that is and that shall be, in whom all else lives, moves, and has its being. 56. This was the great mystery of the infallible name, and of course its true pronunciation and its meaning became lost to all except the select few to whom it was confided, it being concealed from the common people, because the deity thus metaphysically named was not that personal and capricious, and as it were, tangible God in whom they believed, and who alone was within reach of their crude capacities. This was a profound truth hidden in the ancient allegory and covered from the general view with a double veil. This was the exoteric meaning of the generation and production of the Indian, Chaldean, and Phoenician cosmologist, of the active and passive powers, of the male and female principles, of heaven and its luminaries generating and the earth producing, all hidden from vulgar view, as above its comprehension. The doctrine that matter is not eternal, but that God was the only original existence, the absolute, from whom everything has proceeded, and to whom all returns. And this true word is with entire accuracy said to have been lost, because its meaning was lost even among the Hebrews. Although we still find the name, its real meaning unsuspected in the Ha of the Druids and the Fu Hai of the Chinese. 57. The Holy Bible is one of the great lights in Masonry, and has a very profound meaning when coupled with the tradition of the Infallible Name, or Lost Word. The object set before the neophyte in his search for the lost word is that he may travel in foreign countries and receive master's wages, which are knowledge and power. The glyphic in its outer form is taken from the guilds of practical masons of 2 or 3 centuries ago. The laws then governing the mark of a fellow craft or a master builder were very strict, and the mark was never bestowed unworthily, and when received was a passport among builders over a wide domain. But in a deeper or Kabbalistic sense, the master's word, which entitled its possessor to master's wages, was a very different thing indeed. The wages of the real master were the satisfaction and the power that flow from the possession of real knowledge. Knowledge is power only when one comprehends that which he possesses, and is therefore enabled to use it for the purposes that lie nearest his heart. Albert Pike shows conclusively that the power of the word lies in the knowledge of the philosophy, which is its perfect synthesis. This is, in part, the meaning of knowing how to pronounce the word. 58. As already stated, the Kabbalah of the ancient Hebrews, which Moses derived by initiation into the mysteries of Egypt and Persia, and which Albert Pike and many others declare was identical among the Hebrews, the Egyptians, Hindus, and other nations of antiquity, was known as the secret doctrine. The reason for such a name is fully revealed in what has been shown hitherto. 59. What Albert Pike says regarding the relationship between the Pentateuch to the Kabbalah is true to the exoteric scriptures of every nation of antiquity. 60. Mystic Masonry has came to teach the inner truths of Masonry, and there is no doubt but that it will fulfill its mission completely, and ere many years have passed away. 61. The traditions, glyphics, and ritual of Freemasonry cluster around the building of the temple, the legend of the widow's son, Hiram Abiff, who lost his life in the defense of his integrity, and the search for the lost word of the master. As the candidate progresses, degree after degree, he is furnished with the working tools suited to his degree of knowledge and proficiency, given instructions as to their use. The lesser and greater lights are revealed and explained, and through all, each outer form or material thing is shown to be a symbol or a deeper mystery, a concealed potency. 62. This, in brief, the language and the philosophy of symbolism, or the exoteric and the esoteric grab of truth. The method itself, outside of all details or applications, has a deeper scientific significance than most persons are aware of. This method of instruction is not fanciful or arbitrary, but conforms to the process of the eternal nature in building an atom or a world, a daisy or a man. Cosmos has evolved from chaos, and yet chaos remains the eternal potency. What Plato called the world of divine ideas. This will be more fully explained in another part. The essential form or idea of all things, the potency or force, and the matter as we now discern it, must have existed in primordial space. Therefore, these two always existed, viz., the inner potency and the outer act, the concealed idea and the outer form, the inner meaning and the outer event, each in its turn a symbol of the other. Hence the saying on the Smaragdian tablet, as above, so below. All outward things are, therefore, symbols or embodiments of pre-existing ideas. And out of this subjective ideal realm, all visible things have emanated. 63. This doctrine of emanations is the key to the philosophy of Plato and that of the Gnostic sects, from which the early Christians derived their mysteries. This fact is mentioned here in order to show the deep foundations of the glyphics of Masonry. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you very much.